2.
One of my favorite things about recording this show is we drop the introduction at the very beginning of this show.
As one does with an introduction.
And as soon as we do that, nobody else can see this but us because we're all small, tiny little windows in the corner. But as soon as the introduction drops, we all just start dancing. Like we're all just like vibing and we're having a good time and the introduction drops. And I'm just like, man, I wish we could just at least talk during this because we can't hear each other because the introduction's playing. But it's a wonderful thing. I enjoy it. Slapdog here. Welcome to LeatherBrainz. I have two of my very closest Casanova Castro gentlemen. Glad to be here. I feel a little left out. I didn't do this last week, so I feel a little out of sorts, a little out of place because you get into this rhythm of doing this show. But I'm excited to talk NFL with you guys today. There's some things, of course, as always, that we have to discuss. But I do want to put a disclaimer out there to all of the Brainiacs out there that are tuning in. First and foremost, appreciate it. Love you guys. If you could be as so generous as to hit the subscribe button wherever you might be listening at, would be greatly appreciated. We don't have a ton. There's nothing like super breaking. There's nothing crazy going on in the NFL right now. We still want to talk about the NFL because there are some things that have happened. So that's what we're going to do today. It's going to be kind of just a medley of different things regarding the NFL that we're going to talk about. So
random
there's
shit.
Nothing formal. Yeah, it's kind of random. This is just random. It's fun. It's a little bit different than usual. Where we're just going to kind of, I think, just to quote the great Scotty Del Rey, is get silly. I think is typically
It's number one objective every episode.
Yeah. So let's just jump in. Let's do this thing, boys. Let's start with this. The NFL schedule. There is a pre-release schedule. So the official NFL schedule has not been released yet. That comes tomorrow. However, they did give us a little I'm going to verbal meme here, the little salt guy, the little salt sprinkler guy. And they gave us a little bit. They gave us one game yesterday. And this game was, of course, none other than the Chiefs. It has to be the Chiefs because
Amen, brother.
Chiefs are the moneymaker for the NFL. And they are.
The Super Bowl winner kicks off the season.
Yeah. 2 years in a row.
That's how it goes.
Sure.
Going for a third.
And which I understand.
Swifties.
But hear me out. They also gave you the week 2 game already for the Chiefs, and they didn't do that for anybody else, and they didn't have to do that. So
which is insane.
Did they give it to us or was it leaked?
Probably.
Well, the Chiefs,
I don't know.
The Chiefs account published it.
It's probably just like the intern. Like the Chiefs intern social media guy had scheduled it for the wrong day.
Said, I'm doing this. I'm doing this for the kingdom. Immediately got fired.
He accidentally hit send.
He's like,
oops.
Yeah. So the first game this year is going to be the Ravens Chiefs. Last year it was the Chiefs Lions. I was a big fan of that. And I called that game correctly. I did think the Lions were going to win, and they did. I'm curious to know, as the Chiefs fans, of course, you guys have to say the Chiefs are going to win. But this is to be completely, try and set the bias aside a little bit here. This is a tough week 1 game for the Chiefs. And the Chiefs typically don't start out super hot. So how are you guys feeling about this?
Let me put the bias aside and just talk about the last several matchups the Chiefs have had with the Ravens. Because in the Patrick Mahomes era, the Chiefs have lost exactly 1 game to the Ravens out of, I think, 5 or 6 matchups. So they match up well against the Ravens. Obviously, it's a tough matchup, and we need to just come out hotter than we did for 75% of last season on offense. And if we can do that, I think we can beat anybody. But that's going to be what it comes down to, is how's this offense look without Rashee Rice in the lineup, with all these new receivers? Are we going to drop the ball a bunch of times? Who knows?
Yeah, I think that was the first 2 games being released for the Chiefs almost looked like, and I know I texted it to you guys, it was like, they do not want to see a three-peat. Let's go ahead and beat up the Chiefs early on. And so we have the Ravens, and then we have the Bengals week 2.
Yeah.
Both are in Kansas City is the only like saving grace if you're a Chiefs fan, that like, hey, we might be able to skate out of this okay. But the Ravens, I was surprised they went with the Ravens, because normally they do, like, I thought it was probably going to be like the Texans, somebody that's like up and
there was
coming.
a lot of people that thought that too.
Because that's kind of how they worked for the Lions. Like, you give a team that's probably going to make some hay this year, like a little bit of run in that opening game. Like the Chiefs, pains me to say, like, it's like old news. I know people are really tired, so normally they like to pair that with a team that's more up and coming to kind of drum up some more. So I was surprised they went right away with an AFC championship rematch in week 1 and then follow that up with another previous AFC championship rematch in week 2. It's like, I felt like they burned too many of their scheduling cards early, but who knows? This is also middle finger if Rashee Rice is out for a few. So that means there's probably going to be some other playoff teams that are going to sneak in early while he's suspended.
Yeah, they're trying to avoid the NBA problem, which is where nobody watches the NBA until the last month of the season. And so they're like, let's just get all the awesome matchups in immediately and really draw people in, which, I respect it. And as a Chiefs fan, I'm very excited for both those two games.
I think for me, I'm going to watch football regardless. And if it's a primetime game, we're all watching, especially to kick off the season. You could put the Chiefs Panthers and the whole world's going to tune in because it's we're all like desperately wanting some NFL games. Like that's what we're wanting right now.
I'll watch high school games if they're on TV when it's like getting that close. I'm like, I need something. When it's on TV, it's like some random Florida school playing some random Texas school. I'm like, I literally have no idea who these people are. And the first time I've ever heard of these schools, but let's go ahead and watch it because it's football. And so they could have thrown anybody, literally anybody.
I say that too, but then the preseason shows up and I'm like, I don't really.
It is okay. It is interesting you say that, and that because I'm kind of the same way where like preseason hits and I'm like, I really am not interested in watching these games, mostly because I know that I'm not getting the best version of the team. I think that's what it is. Is like everybody knows it's all a facade. You're just going out there to test your offense and make sure that you guys have everything together for the regular season. Your starters aren't trying super hard. You're typically playing your backup guys and just kind of getting your play calling and all that figured out. So for me, you're not getting the best. And where it comes from like a high school game, like I'm infinitely more interested in that
that's
because at least...
Yeah,
this is it. Like, and it might be dog shit, but at least they're trying hard, and that's what I admire.
So my dad has always had a theory on this, and this was before the preseason had changed. But you know how you get those like random like college football, those Maction games? You got like Toledo playing whomever on on a Wednesday night, and you kind of tune in, but you're like kind of watching. That's kind of how I view the NFL, those NFL preseason games, because you have guys still trying to make rosters, so they're still trying to make plays, but it's just like. You're not getting the best version of it, and that's how I kind of equate the NFL preseason. I'm like watching a Wednesday night Maction game, so I'm like I'm into it because it's football, but I'm largely not really paying attention because it doesn't matter to me.
It's just good to have the sounds, like it's just like
the background fodder. Yeah, that's
you
where
also
it comes into play.
I use, and I don't know if you guys do this. I use the preseason as also a guide for my eyes because like. Once you like as a fan, when you're watching TV, like you need to get warmed up too. You're like, all right, yeah, I saw that holding or I saw that false start. But early in the season, I might not see it right away. So I use those preseason games as also a warm up for my eyes to be like, all right, I'm getting locked in. I can see this now.
You got to get your vocal cords warmed up to scream about drops on the field and bad calls from the refs.
Is your hand like just holstered right on your waist and you're throwing the flag in your living room and you're like, I fucking saw that.
Yeah,
I do.
I do.
I have another question. Do you guys? We haven't had an NCAA game in a long time. There is an NCAA game coming this year. Very exciting. I think we're all pretty pumped for that. So we're limited to Madden right now. Right before the NFL season starts, I'll boot up an old. I think I have like Madden 22 or 23, and I'm so desperate for football that I'll turn that on and run like a whole dynasty season. I don't know if I was curious if you guys do the same.
You just turn like the computer CPU versus CPU and just watch it.
No. Like I'm playing. I'm not that.
I was going to say that is some like crackhead version of needing the NFL. Like you're in a dark
I'll just
alley
go
watching a simulated game.
No, if I wanted to just watch a game, I'd just turn on an old game and be like, I'll just watch this. Like a regular season game that doesn't matter. But do you guys like get the itch to like you just need football that bad that you'll play an old Madden game or something?
You talked about NCAA. I grew up like I don't play the Madden games to be quite honest, just because I've largely been turned off by playing those. I miss the NCAA games because the recruiting and all of that like I love. So I actually have a PS3 upstairs that I will put in one of the old NCAA football games, and I will play.
It's weird to hear you guys say old Madden 22, old PS3. Like,
Well,
we're getting
okay.
old.
PS3s are old. PS3s are old. PS4s are almost old. PS4s, like they're saying, like PS4s are getting old, which I don't know. I don't have one, but that's what people are saying. The kids are saying.
My PS3 sounds like a jet engine turning on at this point. It's barely running, but I still play. I'm super excited for the NCAA game, by the way. I think it's always fun when I love college football just as much as
it
I
might
love
just
NFL.
be the naysayer in me, but I just think we all have this nostalgic idea of what the NCAA football games were, and there's just no way it's going to feel that way again. Like, I think we're going to turn it on, and it's going to be exactly the same as Madden with different teams.
Well, yeah, but now the kids are getting paid. That's the big difference.
Yeah, but that doesn't
That's
affect
huge.
my ability to be a DGen in my basement alone.
That's I
hey,
feel you there.
You can do whatever you want in your basement alone.
Yeah, dude. As long as the lights are off and no one's home, do whatever you got to do. Let's go back to the Chiefs starting schedule here. We got a little on a ramble. I mean, like, to start this, the Chiefs historically kind of are a slow opener team. Like, they kind of find their traction, or historically the last couple seasons have kind of started to find their ground towards the end of the season. Is this not concerning that I be the realist that I am? Chiefs could be 0-2 to start the season, and I think that's certainly a possibility. Is that not concerning?
Yeah.
And
Wherever,
like, from Chiefs fans, I'm curious.
Yeah, wherever you put these two games, they could have lost them. Being at the beginning of the season, it is more glaring saying we started 0-2. I see that as a realistic possibility. They could start 0-2, but they could have lost these two games anywhere, and we've seen that for the last few years from the Chiefs. It's not the regular season that they turn it on and figure it out. Like, largely, which is odd to say, but they use this regular season to like figure themselves out and then get to a final version of themselves. And I think not having Rashee Rice early on with these teams could end up be a blessing when you actually fast forward to, the end of the season. They're making a push for playoffs, or they're in the playoffs and then divisional and so on, or whatever they have. Like, this is going to largely be foundational to get Hollywood Brown lathered up. You get Xavier Worthy, figure out how you want to use him. We know what we're getting out of Rashee Rice, and which is unfortunate because, they could have seeing them all on the field together would be neat for us early in the season. But I mean, it could be a blessing in disguise to like force some of these players to get kind of up and running earlier than maybe they anticipated, which is very Andy Reid notorious, is to hold players back in their development, because the Chiefs playbook is a beast. But so they're probably going to fumble and stumble through these first two games while they figure out new pieces, because they don't have the receiving core they did. They're not going to have Jerick McKinnon anymore. So it's going to be a lot of discovery, but what a rough discovery phase for the first 2 weeks.
Yeah, this year is going to be even harder than normal for me as a Chiefs fan to be realistic, because I've seen 2 seasons now where I'm like, oh, we're fucked. And then they win the Super Bowl. So now after every loss, I'm going to be like, who gives a shit? It's not the postseason yet. Who cares?
I think it's going to be interesting in the event that the Chiefs do end up losing both of these games. I mean, I already can see exactly how this plays out. Is like this is all that the NFL media talks about. Are the Chiefs cooked at 0-2? Because, and you look at this and it's like
100%.
we don't have the rest of the schedule, right? So we can't sit here and vehemently say like the Chiefs have a hard schedule or not. We don't know. Assuming they probably will have a more difficult schedule, but also these are 2 very difficult opponents, like you mentioned now. And so in the event that they do lose both these games, I'm already sick of it, and it's just not even a realization yet of just like the NFL media just like, are the Chiefs washed? Are the Chiefs not able to find success? And it's like, dude, you have Patrick Mahomes and Andy Reid. You're playing 2 of the most difficult opponents that you could face right now. Chiefs historically don't start out super hot, so it's a conglomeration of all these different things, and it's like, it's just gonna get ran through the media, and I'm like, just leave it alone.
If you rewind back to the Patriots during their dynasty runs, like, this happened to them too. Tom Brady would lose a few games back to back and be like, well, is this the end of the dynasty? Is this over for Tom Brady? Is this all we're going to see? And it was like, no, it's the regular season. Like, it's now it's an even longer season. Now they want to add more games. Like, people get hurt. They're going to lose games. They're going to teams are going to get amped. You're not going to think the Ravens are going to be like really amped up for a revenge game in Kansas City, like really wanting to like undo some of the, right some wrongs that they had the previous week. And same with the Bengals. Like, you have, assuming Burrow's, wrist is ready to go, which, we've seen some speculation on like how healthy he actually is with that wrist. Like, it'll be interesting. Like, that team's going to be largely motivated. And so when you're if you're a fan of the Chiefs, just hang tight. Like you got to let everything kind of shake out. You're in the AFC West. That's the number one goal, is win your division. Those are the most important games you want to win, because that's 6 games that you're guaranteed to have every year. You need to focus, on those. So,
and it's a win-win for Chiefs fans, because if we end up winning one or both of those games, I'm going to be on such a high. Like I'm going to be so annoying on this podcast. It's going to be amazing. But if we lose, I'm just going to be like, yeah, who cares? It's not the postseason. Win-win.
You brought up the extra game. Yeti asked this question there, Alan. You brought up that extra game that you were discussing just a moment ago. He said, would you prefer an extra regular season game over a third preseason game? Thoughts, gentlemen?
Extra game, extra bye week. Help everybody out, and we get more real football.
And doesn't that push the Super Bowl? So we have, like, us as fans, if we added one extra week, I don't know how the bye week would, well, the bye week would still probably fill in. I think I'd have to go back and look at it, but there was something floating around, or an idea floating around, that, like, if
Super Bowl would be on President's Day weekend and we'd get the day off on Monday.
Correct.
That'd be hot. We should have that day off anyways.
We should.
So hot.
We
just replace. Nobody gives a shit about President's Day. Let's just replace President's Day with Super Bowl Monday.
There you go.
And who cares about the president? They're a bunch of politicians. Nobody gives a shit.
No, I'm in with that, but I still would like the day off. Like I don't want to lose that.
Yeah,
like
I want the day off Monday.
Yeah,
recovery Monday.
Recovery. Yeah, that way we can all go out and party and have a good time. That's what I would like.
Yeah, that makes total sense. And it being President's Day makes it uniquely us too. So that's kind of cool. United States, like it's our Super Bowl champs. Nobody's challenged us. United States.
That's
Super
true.
Bowl world champs this whole time.
And if another country wants to come in and beat us in football, we'll give up that day and they can have it.
Yeah, we'll give it up.
People.
100%. We'll just let somebody come challenge us. Yeah.
I'll say the national anthem of whatever country does it. That's a promise.
With the schedule pre-release, we also have some other games to talk about that we know are kind of inked in that first week. It's some juicy matchups overall, I would say.
Well, the very last thing on this Chiefs thing, and then I do want to talk about these other games. Did you guys see what Adam Schefter said? He called this opening season opener for the Chiefs Ravens. He calls this the Hollywood Brown revenge game. I don't know why you would ever call it that. I know that Hollywood Brown he played for the Ravens. That was a couple seasons ago, and obviously now he's with the Chiefs. So I think that's really loose, and I just wanted to call Schefter out on that. I would not call this the Hollywood Brown revenge.
You want to talk about storylines you're annoyed with like, oh, we're going to talk about this and that. Like, this is one that, like, why was that on
it was
top
never a
of
thing.
His list?
Yeah.
Why was that on top of his list of things to talk about? Literally, you could just say, it is a rematch of the AFC title game that came down to a handful of plays. I am so excited. No, he's like, it's the Hollywood Brown. No, number one,
how can we tie this back together?
A large percentage of people were like, oh yeah, fuck, they got Hollywood Brown on the Chiefs, was probably like the first reaction.
Yeah.
And number two, they're like, wait, wasn't he on the Cardinals? So what revenge are we talking about?
Yeah, Hollywood Brown, he's kept up at night for the last 2 years, just thinking about going back in and kicking Lamar Jackson's ass. That's all he wants to do.
Hollywood Brown probably forgot he played for the Ravens at this point.
He probably did. Okay, other games to talk about that actually have officially been confirmed. Friday night in Brazil, we have the Packers versus the Eagles. So we get Thursday night football followed by Friday night football, Packers, Eagles. I like this, man. The Packers are a really fun team. They looked great. They finished out the postseason last year with a bang. Jordan Love looked great. I think this is a great matchup. I expect the Eagles to win this game, but I do expect this to get frisky, and especially, to start out the season in a different country, that's a pretty hard thing to do. So
I appreciate that it's not in Europe, so the time difference isn't so drastic. Because I assume Brazil is just on like California time. I don't know that for sure, but I assume it's not going to be that drastic.
Check. East Coast. Yeah. It's more East Coast time zone.
Is it? Oh, I'm thinking of Peru. Brazil's on the other side. I don't know.
It's on the east. It's on the eastern.
They're only an hour ahead. That's really not that bad.
Eastern. Well, it'll also be like Eastern time is what they're lined up for. I think that's going to be electric. I don't know who's all going to be there.
There's 4 time zones in Brazil, so it depends on where it's getting played.
It's a big country.
Yeah.
Just wanted to throw that out there.
We're close. We're close. It'll be more aligned than 5 or 6 hours ahead of us, which is what Scotty was getting at. Yeah. I'm wondering what the atmosphere is going to be like for that game. I wonder, like, Brazilians going to get, a little squirrely on some NFL. Like, are we going to get, some loud noises, vuvuzeling, and like other rather soccer-y things, or what's the vibe going to be like? I think that's the thing I'm most excited, aside from seeing Saquon's quads again. That's really the only two things that I'm like really excited for.
I think the only thing I know about Brazil besides soccer is, well, there's two things. Number one, they got hot women, is what I've been told. So maybe we'll see some of those.
Bonk.
But number two is they love Brazilian jiu-jitsu. So I think we might get some real intense fan fights in the stands.
Did you guys see the sumo wrestler? There was a video floating around of, I think it was Michael Parsons.
Yeah.
Fighting a sumo. He wasn't fighting a sumo wrestler, but he was trying to push a sumo wrestler out of the ring. And I watched this and I was like, when is the NFL just going to go after sumo wrestlers as offensive linemen? Because that dude did not move. And I was like,
no.
I was like, dude,
they're good. They're good as centers or non-pulling guards. Other than that, it's really tough to get a sumo wrestler. Yeah, because they're not really good laterally. But if you just need a brick shit house to sit there and like not move, you got one in a sumo wrestler.
It was
maybe like a long snapper.
Yeah, just sit there. Just don't move.
Be in the way.
Yeah,
he's just in the way.
I don't know. I think I'm not a Packers or an Eagles fan. I feel like I would have got sniped though. Like it's a season opener, and especially for Eagles fans, like both Eagles and Packers fans are pretty diehard fans that you would fill that stadium up in a heartbeat for a season opener, and I would feel like I got snubbed a little bit.
Yeah, like, losing a home game to a different country. Yeah, for one of those franchises.
I know.
That's a good point.
Yeah,
unless you make a vacation out of it, you can squeeze your way down to Brazil. But I don't like. What's the tailgating like? I don't know.
Yeah,
I have questions.
That's we don't even know. We think there might be vuvuzelas, whatever the fuck those are. So I don't know.
I have a question. I don't know. That's fine.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Sunday. Cowboys Browns. That's the afternoon game. Don't care. I hope that Deshaun Watson massages. Go ahead.
I was going to say this is a philosophical thing because I know we don't like the Cowboys either, but do you root for massage Deshaun or do you root for the Cowboys?
I hate Jerry Jones. I hate the Cowboys. I will be rooting for the Browns.
Okay. Fair.
So you'll literally root for anybody against the Cowboys?
Most of the time, probably, yes.
Adolf Hitler versus Dak Prescott.
Yeah. And Aaron Hernandez is his tight end.
We should make an all.
Is Adolf Hitler, is Hitler the quarterback and Hernandez, or is it like Dak?
It's
Dak and Hernandez.
I don't know why. I don't know why I assumed he would be the quarterback. Who knows? But
well, he's one of the greatest military minds of human history. He was just also a pervert.
We're canceled. Well,
I mean, that's not. We're probably canceled now, but that's also true.
Thanks, Scotty.
He wasn't a good man.
We had a good run.
Military
I never
leader?
claimed that.
No, I know. I just wanted to blanket that to try and get us uncanceled.
We should probably move on from this one.
Yeah, I think Alan's right here.
I know a lot about World War II.
Okay, Cowboys Browns. I mean, who cares? Do you guys have anything else? Yeah, I don't care.
It's football. I'll be watching.
It depends on who I get in redrafts, but other than that, I don't care.
This Monday Night Football game, though, this has also been confirmed. I am excited about this one. It's the Jets 49ers. We already know exactly how this is going to play out. It's going to be Aaron Rodgers schmacked all over social media, all over the place, TVs, commercials. He's coming back. He's going to be here. He's going to be ready for this game against the 49ers. I think the Jets lose this game. I think the Jets lose this game. I think that Aaron Rodgers, he is coming back from that Achilles injury that he unfortunately suffered at the fourth snap of last season to begin the season. But I don't know. I think
the sneaky underlying storyline is that the Jets have obviously that they have at MetLife, they have a notoriously bad surface to play on, which has been talked about ad nauseum. Probably second to that would be where the 49ers play, and people complain about that surface a lot. So this is going to be a rough opening show for that Achilles to have to come out and like do its thing on another surface, which is wildly heralded as being shit.
Yeah, so, I'm actually surprised that, with all of the conspiracy theories last season around the Chiefs and Taylor Swift and all this stuff, it really seems like maybe the NFL is dead set on keeping Aaron Rodgers from having a between with all of his conspiracy theories that he's always launching. I think maybe the NFL is like, we got to get this guy out of here. Let's because they're matching up with the 49ers and Leonard Floyd, who was the guy that tackled Aaron Rodgers last season, which resulted in the torn Achilles, is now playing for the 49ers. So he's there. It's another Monday night game to start the season. Like, I don't know.
Do you think that? Do you think the NFL is doing that because they realize that there's some marketing that they can capture, and that's why they're trying to take it from Aaron Rodgers? Because they're like, hey, there's an avenue here that we can kind of like pull in, and he's getting it, so let's just take it from him. Like the whole conspiracy thing. Like the NFL really started leaning into the entire script writer thing. That whole conspiracy.
I think the bigger conspiracy is Aaron Rodgers, big proponent of ayahuasca. NFL advertises for big pharma. There's some big business guys back there saying we can't allow these alternatives to be promoted on our network. We got to get Aaron Rodgers the fuck out of here.
I think a good prop bet would.
They're trying to Boeing him.
Yeah. So, that's what I. Okay. The NFL is trying to Boeing.
They're trying
Aaron
to Boeing.
Rodgers.
What a storyline. Do you think Aaron Rodgers runs out with one flag, or he has two flags in each hand? Like he has a flag in each hand when he runs out this time?
Yeah, I think he's going to have them on his ankles. He's going to have like little tiny ones. Like the Flash.
I want to see those.
On
I
his
want to see the little.
Yeah.
I want to see the car flags that they clip into windows, clipped onto like his visor, and I want to see him running with two flags. I want as many flags, American flags, as we can stack on him and running as fast as he can.
He's got to go big because he knows that could be it. That could be the only time he's on camera all year.
Yeah.
They should give him the flag they use for the national anthem, where they spread across the whole field, and have him run out with that too. Let's just put as many things on him as we can. Just really loud.
Oh, shit. Week 2, we have Thursday night football, Bills, Dolphins. Excited about this one as well. I think it's going to be fun. It's the Bills and Dolphins. Bills have changed a little bit offensively, and the Dolphins have kind of, offensively anyway, have stayed pretty much the same. I think that's going to be a good game. There's a lot of good games coming up, and then there are a couple leak games or potential leaks as well. Is that right, Alan?
Yeah, we have some Thanksgiving Day games that leaked. So we'll probably hear about them tomorrow, but largely they're not very sexy. It's just kind of like, which is maybe okay. I don't know. I like good games during Thanksgiving, but maybe when you have a ton of family in one room and you got to tell everybody to shut up 300 times, it's maybe don't have a big game. I'm going to be honest. I'm really happy my team doesn't play on Thanksgiving. This seems like it would be super annoying because you have like 800 things to do. And then, oh yeah, my team's playing, which would suck. It's only really good for fantasy purposes, but we have, and this is in order of how they're leaked in order of like the timing of the day. So Jaguars at Lions starting Thanksgiving, and then Commanders at Cowboys. And then the evening game is Titans at Chargers, which
I mean, they're all right. The evening game is probably one of them.
Yeah, the evening game's probably appropriate because we will all be passed out by the evening game. We'll also be so tired.
Yeah, Jags Lions could be good, and Commanders Cowboys could also be good, depending on how the Commanders shakes out.
Yeah, you get Jaden Daniels. You get Jaden. Like if he ends up being like a flamethrower, that game could be really fun with him and Dak. Like, what if he outplays Dak? What if he's better? Like, there's some you think, but like the Chargers or the Titans at Chargers largely leaves me with nothing. I assume the Chargers are going to be running it 50 times a game by that point with Harbaugh. So I'm like, what a perfect end of my tryptophan evening. Just pass out on the couch.
Yeah, not. I don't. Those games aren't. And understand. Anybody who's listening, that is a potential leak. Obviously, by the time most of you have tuned in, you'll probably actually know if that's the truth or not. So we just want to put a little asterisk there because it may or may not be true. Let's move over to Jared Goff. Gentlemen, the guy got paid. 4 years, $212 million extension that includes $170 million guaranteed for him to continue playing for the Lions. Congratulations to Jared Goff. I don't want to spend a lot of time on this, but I do want to just ask you guys, Jared Goff is now one of the top 5 highest paid quarterbacks in the NFL right now. Was this warranted and or justified in your guys' opinion?
I think it's justified. I think the Lions are in a window. They saw they had a lot of success last year, and they're like, let's run it back and do everything we need to do to run it back and fuck the future. Let's win right now. And I appreciate that mindset. That's the same mindset I would have if I was in that situation.
Yeah, I've seen a lot of people go back and forth on like, should they have just paid Matt Stafford and not done this whole, back and forth? And what if they would have paid? I don't know. Like the salary cap being where it is now versus where it was when they got rid of Stafford is wildly different. I mean, to me, I saw the reactions, but this is kind of how the game is played now. You got to secure your quarterback, and last year they showed that it works, and they have a recipe that works. And I mean, outside of one half of football that largely doomed them, they would have been in the Super Bowl. So they won some playoff games. They know how to do it. Now they're bringing back, now quote unquote veterans. Once you play in playoff games, you're veterans, because those are extra games. That's extra practice. That's, you get all the extra stuff that you wouldn't get if you don't make the playoffs. Duh. And so, and I think this makes total sense. Good for the city. I think it just shows a lot of confidence in Goff. Now it's just really on Goff to repeat. Can he actually show up the same way? And that's largely what will prove whether or not this is actually a good extension or not.
Which, that's an interesting storyline, because I don't know if you guys were paying attention during the NFL draft, but how much that fan base is obsessed with Jared Goff. Like, they are chanting Jared Goff's name, and which is good, but assume, what if he comes out and doesn't perform as well as he did last year? Like, how much, what's it going to take for the fan base to turn on Jared Goff, and what does that look like?
I think he won a playoff game. He won a play. That's all he had to do. That was like the baseline of success. Just win us a playoff game, and now he's Jesus. So whatever. That's kind of like what the Bills on behind me with Josh Allen. Get us to another Super Bowl, and they already love him. It would just take it to a fever pitch, and that's kind of like what Detroit is with Jared Goff right now.
You look at we talked about this ad nauseum last season, but the Lions hadn't seen a playoff win in 30 years. So I think Jared Goff is firmly cemented as a Detroit Lion. He is I don't know what you would call a Detroitian. I don't know.
Detroitian? A
I
Detroit?
kind of like that. It's a little hard to say, I think. I'm not even going to try it, but
same.
It sounds.
I'm not going to say it again. Okay, quick question for you both then. Do you think Jared, I hate playing this game, but we're going to play it. Do you think Jared Goff was the reason that they won playoff games, or was he just a part of the team that won the playoff games? Do you think he was a key cog in what made that happen? If you in your mind's eye go back to last season.
Yeah, I think he was key, but at the end of the day, as I said many times last season, the Lions just put together a phenomenal roster. I mean, they're just talented everywhere. So it's no surprise that they saw success, but Jared Goff, obviously when you're the leader of the offense, you have to play a pivotal role in that. And I think he did awesome. I think the Lions fans are justified in their love for him, especially after they all were so excited for Matthew Stafford, and we all know how that turned out. So I think, it makes perfect sense to me, and I think he deserves all the congratulations in the world. By the way, someone from Detroit is called a Detroiter.
I hate that. Let's get that changed.
Detroitian. Detroit fans, you got to do something.
I think I'm going to disagree with Scotty a little bit, though. I think I agree with you. Detroit should love him. If I was a Lions fan, I would be in love with him because of what he has done for that organization. But I look at it, and you mentioned they surrounded that entire team with talent, and I get that he is the figurehead for that. Obviously, all quarterbacks are the figurehead for their teams, but you can't honestly sit here. We can't sit here and say Jared Goff is a top 10 quarterback in the league right now. If you look at it from a talent perspective, do I think Jared Goff is a good quarterback? Yeah, I do. I mean, obviously, you're not going to go as far in the playoffs as they did if you're a bad quarterback. But are you taking Jared Goff as a top 10 quarterback if you didn't have Patrick Mahomes right now? Probably not. Or he's kind of right on that cusp of maybe 10-ish, right?
This is the problem that we all have as football junkies and knuckle draggers who just like to watch violence on TV, is that we all boil down all of this stuff to such simple equations, and there are so many variables. And we talked about it a few episodes ago, that any quarterback that is an NFL caliber quarterback has the capacity to be great and has the capacity to suck. It depends on the supporting cast. It depends on their coaching. It depends on their injury history. There are so many things that go into it. Ultimately, Jared Goff did it. So it's and
I'm not arguing that. And I just think I think Jared Goff getting paid what he did is a byproduct of how the NFL is trending right now and how valuable all quarterbacks have become. And you're seeing that across all contracts. I mean, you want to talk about Daniel Jones? You get in that conversation where it's Daniel Jones got paid, and what has he done? I think now he's got to prove it, or else his career is going to be done after this year. But that's where you're getting to, is Jared Goff worth that? Probably because the team needed him. But also, you look at it and you're like, man, I don't know if he's worth like top 10 money that is getting paid right now. So we're never going to know. And like you said, there's a lot of that goes into that. And I fully understand that, but I am happy for him. And I do think
I agree.
He's good.
I agree. I think money just changed. Like you said, it changes your expectations of how these players should go. Like largely we're enamored with rookies that do well because we're not expecting rookies to do well.
Sure.
Like it's supposed to be a learning thing. And then they do well. Then it's like, oh, what can you do for me the next year? Like, CJ Stroud's a great example of this. I think largely we're like really excited for CJ Stroud. But if you look what he did last year, it's 23 touchdowns. He didn't throw a lot of interceptions. So now it's like, all right, are you going to continue to do that? Or what are you going to do now? And then that's largely how we're going to shape. It's like, it's based on your last year, how you performed. And Russell Wilson is a great example because last year, I think Russell Wilson had a great season, from what he did the previous year, but it's always based on what did you do the year before that. But if you pair that with what he was paid, you're largely like, I'm not getting the return that I really want to see on this. So it's just this constant ebb and flow because it's like the book was already written on Russ, but largely he played well last year, but it's just on, what you're getting paid.
Should Russ have been considered comeback player of the year or like in the running for that? DeMar Hamlin or Russ for comeback player of the year. One of them died. The other one basically died on the field.
Did Russ lay an egg the previous year so he could win comeback player of the year the next year?
Boy,
is the question.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I don't think either. Not that DeMar. I don't think either of them really deserve it. Not that. Sorry. Just gonna say it. I don't think.
Praise for DeMar.
Yeah, no, he's fine. I think. I hope he's doing well these days. But I think it should be awarded to somebody who is a substantial contributor on their team. We talk about Russell Wilson. Let's talk about Nathaniel Hackett, his ex-head coach, who is now the offensive coordinator for the Jets. There was quite a bit of Twitter chatter yesterday, gentlemen, regarding Nathaniel Hackett. I thought it was kind of interesting. NFL reporter Connor Hughes had tweeted, and it was rumored that the Jets had made legitimate attempts to hire someone this offseason to essentially replace Nathaniel Hackett. Nathaniel Hackett would still be technically the offensive coordinator, but whoever they were looking to acquire would have had a title above offensive coordinator and would have, quote, ran the show.
I don't think I'm more confident in anything than.
What does that mean?
I've never met Nathaniel Hackett, but I don't think I'm more confident in anything than when I say Nathaniel Hackett is a fucking goober. Like you just look at him and listen to him talk, and you're just like, I don't know how you made it to where you made it. I don't know how you did.
I agree with you 100%.
Just look at his name. He sounds like he fought in the Civil War, not that he's an offensive coordinator for the Jets. I'm Nathaniel Hackett. I fight for the union. Like that does not scream to me.
Do you think he'd fight for the union?
I said that. I don't know.
Well, you talked about Nazis already, so we might as well talk about that.
No, these clips are going to be awful. I'd rather not do any of that at this point.
I mean, yeah, if you watched him in Hard Knocks this last year, it was tough. I was like, what? It made me really come to terms with the fact that I understood why the Broncos were so bad. I was like, it's because that guy was in charge.
He hired a guy to help him remember the clock exists when he was there.
Yeah, I need to keep track of time. Like any kid that's played Madden, we talked about that. You should know what the time is. NFL coaches are largely nerds. Like I don't know. Like Robert Saleh, like is probably like the only one that comes across as like that guy. Alpha. That guy actually might be pretty cool, but everybody else is like a nerd. Like imagine hanging out with anybody. Sean Payton. Andy Reid,
absolutely not.
Like any of these guys, like even Sean McVay, I feel like he would just be a total nerd. I'd be like, dude, stop.
I don't know.
Like,
I get bro vibes from McVay.
His hairstyle does, but then you hear him talk, you're like, yeah, all right.
I'd still hang out with him. I like McVay. I think he's
freaking
nerd. He's a top 5 coach in the NFL for sure. Yeah. So I saw this and I'm like, it made me think of this, and I posed this question to you guys. Is Nathaniel Hackett really only have this fucking job because Aaron Rodgers is there? Like, can we almost definitively say that is the case?
100%.
Yeah, I don't know why he's hired.
Why was Randall Cobb there? Like, why? There's a lot of people you could be like, why are you on this team? And you could be like, well, it's because Aaron Rodgers is here. That's why.
I don't understand how like an executive sits down with Nathaniel Hackett and he's wearing a stupid backwards hat and his soul patch, and he's like, yeah, we want to hire you for our team. Like, we want you to be in charge. Like, how do you come to that conclusion? I don't know. Just from a personality, I don't get it.
No idea.
Either. But it also, like, I mean, perfect example is how the fuck did Randall Cobb get a job there? It's like Aaron Rodgers sat down with the owner of the Jets and was like, hey, I'll come play for you, but like all my friends are going to come too. So like you need to make space on the roster for them.
It's like an Adam Sandler movie. It's like Adam Sandler's in the movie, so all these 5 guys are also going to be in the movie, and that's what Aaron Rodgers is right now. Like, oh, Aaron Rodgers on my team. Well, we got to make room. Might as well just sign Jordy Nelson. Like, I don't know what the fuck am I doing because I got Aaron Rodgers now.
And no, I think legitimately, and if this is true from what Connor Hughes, this reporter, had announced, I think the only reason is because Aaron Rodgers is there. Like, why would you not just fire your fucking OC and go get somebody else? It's like, oh, that's because that's Aaron's bro and Aaron wants him there. Like, otherwise you would just fire your offensive coordinator. Why would you go above and be like, we'll have an offensive director. We don't have a defensive director, but we'll have an offensive director that calls the plays. And it's like, oh, the OC is just fucking sitting on the bench eating sunflower seeds.
They're
like
one step away from giving Nathaniel Hackett one of those backpacks with a leash tail and just like walking him around the sideline.
Assistant to the offensive coordinator is what he would become.
Oh, love shit. T. Higgins. He is now the only, I put only in all caps here, he's the only franchised or transition tagged player that has not come to a long-term deal, according to our boy Ian Rappaport. That is kind of, that's crazy to me. Like, he is the only person that has been tagged that has not, or transition tagged, that has not found a deal with the team. Are we definitively
not surprised?
We're not surprised because they probably can't afford it, right? So this is last year with T. Higgins on the Bengals. Is that fair to say? Are we all in agreement there?
Yeah. This is weird. The owner for the Bengals is notoriously a cheap a-hole anyways, and like they had to sell the naming rights to the stadium just so they could prepare to pay Joe Burrow. So like this shows you some of like the financial moves that they have to make to just like make things happen in Cincinnati. They drafted well. Now this is the evolution of teams that have great players that are doing well. Is now what do you do? Because now you got to keep evolving. And I think the Bengals are locked into a spot where like I don't think they've thought about evolving. I think they're thinking of how do I keep the band together long enough to do damage, and then we'll figure it out later. And that's very short-sighted. And I think this is just a reflection of all that decision making is just super short-sighted decisions.
Yeah. Well, I mean, ultimately, it's not a bad move for the Bengals. I mean, they're just going to try and run it back and make a splash right now, hopefully with a healthy Joe Burrow and with this supporting cast before they have to make hard decisions. So whatever.
Yeah. Yep.
Well, we talk on the show about, you find that rookie quarterback, you get him on a rookie deal. We talk about CJ Stroud. We talk about Brock Purdy. We're past that with the Bengals. Like, we're about, like, they're coming to the point where they're going to have to start paying Jamar Chase and Joe Burrow and now like the T. Higgins. And so like with all they haven't paid Chase yet. That's looming. That's going to come. I think we all are of the understanding of that. Are the Bengals about to miss a window, do you guys think? Like, is this, and I know that, T. Higgins is just one player. They also lost Joe Mixon. They've had some changes on the offense here. Are the Bengals always going to be competitive with Joe Burrow, or is this a potential window that we're starting to see getting closed here if things don't happen this year for them? What do you think?
I think the Bengals are always going to be competitive with a healthy Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase. So as long as those two pieces are there, they can compete. But obviously they know they're in a window. Everybody knows they're in a window right now. I think Joe Burrow's got to stay healthy this season, and they have got to make some significant waves. Otherwise, they're going to have to start really thinking about how to restructure all the other pieces on this team.
Yeah, I agree. I think this is with Joe Burrow, like you said, healthy, but you have to look at like percentage. Like half the time so far through his career, he's not healthy. And that becomes a problem because you could have all the talent in the world and be hurt all the time. I mean, that's happened. That's a tale as old as time in any sport across any of the major sports in the U.S. Like, so if he can't be available.
This guy really wants to know about Nathaniel Hackett.
He does. Richard from New Jersey. I love you, brother. Thank you so much. You did. If you rewind like 10 minutes, we had a hell of a conversation about Hackett.
We basically just made fun of him, Richard. I'm really sorry.
I'm so
I
sorry.
apologize.
Yeah.
I wish
he's got a cool new backpack though.
Well, and Richard looks to be a Jets fan, so
yeah, he is. He might not be happy with us.
Or he could be really happy. He might be like, I agree with you. Go check it out. Let us know. We'll look
so
for your
I have a very unpopular thought, and this could be because I just fucking hate the Bengals at this point in time. I think that Joe Burrow is 100% reliant on the weapons around him. I think he needs, if you go back and watch a lot of tape, he makes great throws, but he needs those playmakers on the outside. Like, he thrives on having those elite skill positions, whether he was at LSU, whether he's in the NFL. Like, he needs that to happen. And I think I love Joe, but I think for this team to be successful, they need all the parts. And I think losing T could be a bigger impact overall, but needs to stay healthy. They need to keep the weapons.
Okay, let me ask you this then. I mean, would you rather have Justin Herbert or Joe Burrow?
I'd rather have Herbert.
Really?
Fragile.
Yeah. Is that okay? If
ribs or
I was going to say, well, that's also true. Herbert's
true.
Herbert and Scotty have shared some of the same ailments. If they were both health, if you could guarantee health, and obviously we can't, but like if injury wasn't a concern for either of them, you'd still take Herbert over Burrow.
Yeah, I would take Herbert. I think Herbert has been in a situation largely where his surrounding coaching staff has kind of sucked. He hasn't had healthy outside threats. I think if you put Herbert on the Bengals, do you think they're largely similar or better? And I think they're largely similar. If you put Herbert right now just on the Bengals with the talent that's around him, I think they'd look fairly similar.
I think if you guarantee health, you keep Joe Burrow. You've seen what he does when he's healthy on that roster already. Like their ceiling is beating everybody around them. So
I wasn't saying they should trade Joe. I was just saying if I had the
which
option,
would you rather have on the Bengals is how I took the question. And then
I just mean like in general, like if you had to pick, if you could choose between the two of them for whatever team you were supporting, obviously the Chiefs, but like if you had to choose which one you would want, which one would you take is really the question.
I'd definitely take Joe Burrow if it was on the Chiefs because I don't want any Chargers players near my team.
Wow.
You can't ask Scotty any questions.
Yeah,
right now.
You're in jail.
One-track mind.
Okay, let's go over to MVS. I don't think there's anything too crazy. Marquez Valdez-Scantling was signed to the Bills. So look for a revenge game when the Bills and Chiefs play. That's Adam Schefter will tweet that one.
No, that's the Hollywood Brown revenge game for some reason.
Sorry, excuse me.
Okay, really quick question on the Bills. They got rid of Gabe Davis. They got rid of Stephon Diggs. Do you feel like they come out of free agency and you're more confident in the Bills or less confident?
Less confident.
Well, I think from a realistic perspective, we saw them change their offense significantly in the second half of last season, which involved the running game a lot more and utilized those receivers a lot less or a lot more sparingly on the outside. And I think with that style of offense, the Bills can be very good. And I think obviously the receiving core, as far as we know right now, sorry, my mic keeps turning down. As far as we know right now is worse, but I still think the Bills, assuming that they stick with that game plan that proved to be successful in the second half of last season, I think they could still be very good and very competitive.
The only thing if I'm a Bills fan right now that worries me is that I feel like this puts way more emphasis on Josh Allen's legs. And I know we've talked a lot, like you don't want to put too much on his legs because he's just one like weird hit away from like, now you're totally done. And I know he's built like a tank. He's a strong dude. He's a playmaker, but it's like, you really need those outside threats to be like outside threats. And I think if you're a defense pulling up against the Bills offense, like who are you going to guard? Like, are you going to pay attention to Josh Allen and Cook, or are you going to go spend time guarding MVS? Like I don't feel like there's too much of a.
Yeah, but I think I actually don't mind this signing solely because like they need wide receiver help. And I'm not saying MVS is good. I think, he was with the Chiefs and you guys saw how much of a non-existent factor he was most of the time. But the difference was
when it mattered.
Okay, but he's not. I mean, how many targets was he getting? What was he doing on the field? If you watch MVS, most of the time he was just drawing coverage because he was running verticals down the field. He was drawing that deep coverage.
Same thing Gabe Davis does.
Exactly. Well, and that's exactly what I was alluding to. Is Gabe Davis isn't on the field anymore. So now you have MVS kind of filling in that Gabe Davis role. I don't mind that for the Bills, especially because he wasn't super expensive. You didn't sign him to a long-term deal. Like, you just got somebody to kind of be that filler guy to help open up the rest of the field for you. So I don't like, this isn't a splash signing, but as soon as I saw that, I was like, okay, that was their intent, was to try and have a Gabe Davis replacement.
It's actually kind of remarkable how similar they are because both of them have obviously deep threat potential, but they also both have are known for dropping those balls. So we might see like the exact same shit play out with MVS there.
Yeah, potentially. Let's go over to I'm going to butcher his name
Adonai.
probably. Adonai Mitchell. Thank you, Scotty. He's wearing number 10 to signify the number of wide receivers that were drafted ahead of him. There's a bookmark here. I think I know who put this bookmark in. I think it was probably Scotty. And I think this bookmark says, bookmark this for later to make fun of him potentially, which is funny. I do enjoy that.
Well, it's the same thing that why am I drawing a blank on the Lions receiver? Amon-Ra. It's the same. He has like the list of receivers drafted before him, and we all look at that now and say that's pretty cool because Amon-Ra is really good. But if Adonai Mitchell turns out to not be really good, he's still got to wear number 10, and then we're like, wow, this is so fucking stupid. It's just dramatic bullshit.
I think it is. I think it's extrapolated a little bit, but I do like. He had to change numbers. So I say this because he was number 5 when he was in college playing at Texas. Unfortunately, Anthony Richardson is already number 5. So I think he would probably take number 5 if he had the choice, and he didn't. So he had to change numbers because Richardson's not going to give up that jersey to this young rookie guy. So he had to choose a new number. And so at least I look at it as for him, he probably was just like, well, what number could I choose that would have any sort of meeting? And it was like, well, number 10's available.
Just
and
grasping at straws.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you got to pick a new number.
He's so like, I want number 10. How can I possibly spin this to make it seem like it means something or anything at all?
True. That's how
even if he had 5, he's like, well, it's divisible. If you times it by 2, that's 10. That's how many people were. I'm largely like, this has been so played out. I feel like everybody does this every year. The one that I remember significantly was an interview, and this might be a sore spot for you, Slaps. But when Josh Rosen was drafted by the Cardinals, at quarterback, he's like, oh, I'm going to remember everybody that was drafted before me. And like, he sucks. It's like, okay, cool. Remember everybody. I don't write it down, take a picture. I don't give a shit. Like, everybody does that. Unless you're picked number 1 overall, everybody can say that. So like, what is everybody just remember everybody? If you're this Brock Purdy, since he was Mr. Irrelevant, is he just going to be like, I remember like everyone,
the 4th round quarterbacks
ahead of me. I remember all players in the draft. I'm going to list them out. I
got a tattoo of everyone drafted before me on my back. It takes up my entire back. There's 200 of them.
I get it. Like, it's self-motivating, and we do. It's the same people like, nobody believed in us. Everybody doubted us. It was like, okay, well, calm down. Like, people probably believed in you, and people probably didn't doubt you. But go ahead.
I think the Colts probably believed in you. Like, let's take a deep breath here.
Yeah, or like players that have character issues, like nobody believes. No, it's like, okay, well, you got arrested like 3 times. You probably like, there's probably like maybe a reason, unless you want your number's gonna be number 3 for the amount of arrests you have. Like, I don't know if Rashee Rice is planning to make a jersey swap because he's how many cars did I wreck on one freeway? Like, that's gonna be my number. Nobody believed in me. I don't know, but largely this whole thing is just like so overplayed. Like, nobody gives a shit.
How many cops did I juke out when I was leaving the scene of my accident?
How many photographers have I punched? That's going to be my new jersey number. You just can tell the Chiefs to keep sewing on new numbers every time.
Yeah, his jersey number is going to go up 7 times throughout the season.
Why is Rashee Rice number 738? Doesn't even fit.
Oh my God.
Stupid.
Zay Jones, gentlemen, he signed with the Cardinals. I bring this up, A, because I'm a Cardinals fan, but B, because we don't have a lot to talk about and we're running out of news. So I think I bring this
even
up.
Your camera is losing interest.
I know. It's like, fuck, man. You're talking about Zay
Your
Jones.
camera drunk?
I'll try and turn it off. I don't know.
Your camera looks like drunk goggles.
It does.
You're underwater. Slaps is underwater for the rest of this episode.
You guys made me laugh so hard my camera quit. Yeah, so I bring up Zay Jones for fantasy football. I think the wide receiver 2 position gets a little bit more murky for the Cardinals. That's really the only takeaway I had from this is I think that Rondale Moore as well as Michael Wilson were kind of in a really decent spot, and I think this now just muddies the water a little bit. So that's kind of, aside from Marvin Harrison Jr., I don't know if I want to own another piece of this offense for wide receivers.
100%, because I also think that this offense is going to be a little bit more run heavy than what we're used to seeing. Just given the additions that they made, and obviously James Conner was spectacular, and now they know Kyler Murray's injury, potential. I think they're going to rely a little bit more on the run than they typically do. So from a fantasy perspective, I'm like, wow, Marvin Harrison's pretty good. Everybody else, I don't want any part.
Yeah. I think if you're like really degen and like deep in the weeds on this offense, Rondale Moore is still super interesting because he has that like bubble screen home run potential at any time. Yeah, but you're not relying on that. You're not like starting him every week going like, yeah, this guy's gonna do it. Sorry, slaps your camera's off. But I think if you're looking for a piece at the wide receiver spot, I still think Rondale Moore is probably the more intriguing, but that's feast or famine. Like you're probably going to see more weeks where you're getting nothing more than you're going to see. Like it's a matchup dependent play if I'm looking at anything from Rondale Moore.
The run game gets interesting. I do think that, there's a very good possibility. And I think Yeti had alluded to this a few episodes ago, but James Conner could just get ran into the ground here with the last year of his contract. So
that's been the recipe for great fantasy output. Find the guy in the last year of his contract.
Man, I'm excited for the Cardinals. I think I think we're going to be Super Bowl contenders this year? Absolutely not. But I do think we're trending like the light rebuild is trending in the right direction. I'm excited to see what we do this year. So expectations are medium. They were at the very bottom last year. I want like 6 to 8 games is kind of like where I'd feel.
6 to 9 games. 6 to 9
wins.
That is even better, gentlemen. I appreciate that.
Nice.
Last thing here, Sean Payton. He thinks that Bo Nix is big.
Nice.
That he was quoted in an interview stating that. So I don't know how he did not know before he drafted Bo Nix.
This pisses me off so much.
Did he not see him?
Sean Payton was like, "Oh yeah, we made so many fucking 3D chess moves so that way everyone would take all the quarterbacks we didn't want and we could get the guy that we wanted." But oh shit, I didn't realize he looked like that.
He's fucking giant.
He's what would have been more hilarious if Sean Payton was like, I didn't realize Bo Nix was white. That's like the only other thing that would have been better. He's like, oh shit, we drafted the wrong guy.
Were we watching Michael Penix the whole time?
Yeah, well,
that's what we wanted.
And this is part of the the Michael Penis Penix joke is like, Sean Payton said he's bigger than he expected, and I'm like, how was he bigger?
Like what?
Did you guys pass each other in the showers and you're like, whoa. Okay.
If that was the case, do you think Bo Nix would take that as a compliment if he passed him in the shower and was like, wow, you're bigger than I expected? Like, is that a compliment?
Oh yeah.
Or is that backhanded?
No. I would take that all day.
You think I had a small dick, Sean Payton? What the fuck, dude?
I don't think any three of us have ever been told, "Oh, you're bigger than I expected." I don't know if I've ever been told that. So, I
dream of the day where someone comes up on the street and tells me, "You look like you're hung like a horse." Like that's the ultimate compliment.
You look like you're huge down there. Glad we drafted you. Name Sean Payton. How you doing?
It's like worst nightmare. That's it, gentlemen. That is all the time that we have. My camera is fucked, so anybody who is still tuning into this, I sincerely apologize. I also do want to say, if you are tuning into this, hit the subscribe button, man. Truly means the world to all of us. And the last thing I will leave everybody with is our website's been down. We have a LeatherBrainz website, leatherbrainz.com. It has been down. It is still down. But we're doing some refreshers. I just wanted to preface, don't go check it out.
It's still broken.
Still down. But we're doing a brand new website. It's gonna be out here in the next couple of weeks, and we're gonna be providing a lot of fantasy football and NFL content on there. So stay tuned for that. I just kind of wanted to spread a little salt guy meme and just sprinkle some salt and give everybody a little tidbit, because I did have a couple people reach out and be like, hey, your website's not working. So I just want to let everybody know that it's coming. It's coming, and we will be there here in just a few short weeks. Hit the subscribe button. Follow us on all the social medias. Do all the things.
I got distracted because they were showing Aaron Rodgers one highlight behind.
Did you see that? I know Yeti commented, but they also, we got. I'm excited for that 49ers Jets. We also got 49ers Chiefs in Week 7 with Tom Brady commenting, which we'll get into next episode.
Yeah, that'll be exciting. All right, let's get out of here, gentlemen. I appreciate it. I love you guys. We
are
out.
If you enjoyed this episode, make sure you tune into our new releases every week on your favorite podcast app. Follow us on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook, and check out LeatherBrainz.com for all of your fantasy football needs. And remember, Brainiacs, a championship should be more than a fantasy.